Welcome to part 2 of this tutorial where we will look at the ViewFlow report. Back in part 1 of this tutorial, we worked with the process overview report and observed how you can drill down into the activity instance details in a linear fashion. In part 2 of this tutorial, we will see how this same information can be displayed in a flowchart format by using the ViewFlow report. Now in step 5 of this section, we will compare the ViewFlow results with the completed leave request workflow process we observed back in step 3 of part 1 using the process overview report. Back in K2 Workspace, click on the process overview report to open it up. Then once you're in there, click on the leave request workflow process to expose the process instances. Notice that each process instance has a ViewFlow icon to the left of the process folio title and can all be viewed in the ViewFlow format. Let's click the ViewFlow icon that is associated with the completed process instance that we worked with in part 1. That happened to be the June vacation process in my environment. One difference you'll notice between the process overview report and the ViewFlow report is that we can see at a glance what paths the workflow took by following the green lines. We see that the outcome for the manager approval task was approved, and that after updating the status and sending an email to the originator, the workflow was complete. Notice also the red lines here. These indicate that the workflow outcomes were not followed. And further looking at this report, what we don't see is who actually made the approved decision. So let's explore that next. In the ViewFlow report, click on the Start button here on the left to open the process summary. In here, we find basic details regarding this process instance. We can see that the start and finish dates and the duration are present. We also see that Anthony was the form originator, and we see the folio name down here at the bottom. Remember, some of this information is also available back on the process overview report as shown here. Go ahead and exit the process summary screen to continue by clicking on the X in the upper right corner. We can find more information about each event in this workflow by clicking on the event icon right in the report. Let's open the manager approval task for this process to open its details. On the overview screen here, we have details including the task start and finish dates as well as the outcome which was approved. Now we want to find out who was involved with this particular instance. To do that, you can select the Participants tab here at the top. We can see that the Denalix administrator was the one who approved this request. Remember, you can also see this information in the process overview report when you drill down into that activity. Also remember that we observed the audit trail in the process overview report because the administrator is not Anthony's manager. In ViewFlow, audit details are not going to be available to you. You will have to use the process overview report to find that audit information. At this point, you can exit the activity summary screen. In review, the ViewFlow report provides many of the same details as the process overview report, with some minor exceptions. For example, the audit trail is missing. While the details are largely the same, the presentation and navigation is what sets these two reports apart. The ViewFlow offers a clear vision of the entire process instance from start to finish, all on one screen. With very few clicks, you have the same process and activity instance details as you do with the process overview report. In the next step, we will see the fundamental difference between these two reports as we observe the ViewFlow report update in almost real time. Step 6 will be our last step of this tutorial. In this step, we will observe a workflow process instance in real time as it flows through the ViewFlow report. This feature can be very useful for troubleshooting as you are able to view the path the workflow is taking and events as they are occurring. To set the context for this step, we will first action a process instance that has an active status. We will then return to the ViewFlow report and confirm the outcome path corresponds with the action taken. We can start in K2 Workspace again and open the process overview report. Then select the leave request workflow process, and then click the ViewFlow icon for a process instance that has an active status. I'll select the Luxembourg request again for this one. Now, if you do not have any process instances that are active in your environment, you will need to submit a new leave request form. Your ViewFlow report should look similar to the image shown here with an active workflow running. Notice the green line flows through the system task called Set Status Submitted and then stops at the manager approval task. This is telling you that the workflow is currently waiting for the manager approval task to be actioned. In the next task, we are going to action this request, then we will observe the ViewFlow report update itself automatically. Since this leave request workflow was submitted by me as the Denalix administrator, I need to open the Manager's Outlook web client for the administrator account. In this example, it would be for Jono. To speed up the demonstration, I have the OWA web client already opened for this example, so I'll flip over to that now. But in the documentation for this guide, it shows you can also click the User Shortcuts link in the lower right corner of your screen, expand the legal folder, and then click on Outlook for Jono. Jono's Outlook should launch, and this may take a minute or two if you haven't done it yet today. If you do get a dialog about CRM syncing, let it complete and then click OK. Also, if you get a dialog about licensing, you can click Close to continue. Before you action the request, adjust your ViewFlow report screen and Outlook screen so that they are side by side. The ViewFlow report can update very quickly depending on environment after we action the request in Outlook. With the screens side by side, you will be able to see the ViewFlow update. I won't do that on my screen, but I will flip over to the ViewFlow report once I approve the workflow task. Moving on, we are going to action the leave request using a technology called Smart Actions. Smart Actions allow the user to action a task by simply replying to the email, then entering one of the action options as the message body. K2 will read the action and move the workflow along accordingly. Let's reply to this email with either approved or rejected in the message body first line. I'll go ahead and add approved in for this one. I'll click Send Now, and then I'll flip back over to the ViewFlow report to watch it update. There it is refreshed. As you can see, the ViewFlow report has updated following the approved path with green lines. So in review, in this step we observed in real time how the ViewFlow report updates after a task has been processed. In doing this in our example, we actioned the leave request using Smart Actions. As you can see, this report can be very useful for troubleshooting when you observe the system and user tasks as they are processed. This gives you immediate feedback to your workflow's efficiency. We've reached the end of the tutorial with this step. At this point, we've been able to take a somewhat high-level view of what some of the out-of-box K2 standard reports give you while running them out of K2 Workspace. Feel free to explore more of the parameters and configuration settings for these reports to see what they can do to help you manage workflows in your own environment. We hope you enjoyed this tutorial and wish you the best as you continue to build upon your K2 knowledge and experience.